Ancient Egypt is not just the land of pyramids and pharaohs, it is a vibrant, lively world with fascinating stories that go far beyond what history books show. From the daily practices of peasants to the luxurious banquets of the nobility, every detail reveals a bit more about how this ancient civilization found balance between the spiritual and the mundane. Watch the video and discover what daily life was like in ancient Egypt. Ancient Egypt, one of the most fascinating civilizations in history, flourished along the banks of the majestic Nile River. Its strategic location, surrounded by desert, and the fertility of the lands near the river provided ideal conditions for the development of a sophisticated culture that thrived for thousands of years. At the height of its power, Egypt was ruled by pharaohs, divine leaders considered the embodiment of the gods on earth. It was believed they were responsible for maintaining the order and harmony of the universe. The Nile River was the heart of this civilization, not only providing water and food but also serving as the main route for transportation and trade. The annual floods deposited rich sediments that fertilized the land, ensuring abundant harvests, essential for sustaining the population. Throughout its history, Egypt developed a highly structured and hierarchical society, where each individual, from the humblest farmer to the powerful priest, had a defined role. And despite its grand pyramids and temples, what truly sustained this civilization was everyday life, a meticulous balance between work, religion, and leisure. Ancient Egyptian society was deeply hierarchical, and this rigid structure organized every aspect of life. At the top of the social pyramid was the pharaoh, considered a god on earth, whose power was absolute. He was seen as the intermediary between the gods and men, responsible for ensuring the order and prosperity of Egypt. Just below the pharaoh were the priests and nobles, who played essential roles in the administration of the state and in religious rituals. Scribes held a prominent place, as they were responsible for recording important documents, including taxes, decrees, and religious texts. Mastery of writing was a highly valued skill, and few had access to this knowledge. In addition to their administrative role, scribes also enjoyed great social prestige and lived more comfortably than most. Below them were artisans and skilled workers, such as sculptors, painters, and builders. These individuals contributed to the construction of the monuments, tombs, and temples that we now associate with Egypt. Finally, the majority of the population was made up of farmers and peasants, whose primary role was to work the fertile lands along the Nile, ensuring the sustenance of the entire country. Even slaves, who occupied the lowest rung of society, played important roles in monumental projects. This rigid social system, however, provided stability and allowed Egypt to flourish as one of the most enduring civilizations in history. Food in ancient Egypt reflected the richness of its land and its dependence on the Nile River. The basic diet of the Egyptians consisted of bread and beer, which formed the foundation of their daily meals. The bread, made from barley or wheat, was baked in clay ovens, and the beer, brewed from cereals, was consumed by all social classes. Although it might seem unusual today, beer was a nutritious and safe drink, as the water from the Nile was not always potable. Additionally, the river provided an abundant source of fish, which was often included in Egyptian meals. Vegetables like onions, leeks, lettuce, and legumes such as lentils and chickpeas were also part of the daily diet. Fruits, especially dates and figs, were widely consumed and served as both desserts and snacks. The difference between social classes was evident in the foods available to them. Peasants and laborers lived on a simple diet, while nobles and the wealthy had access to a greater variety of foods, including beef, poultry, and exotic fruits. Meat was a luxury reserved for the rich and for special occasions such as festivals and religious banquets. The Egyptians also cultivated vineyards for wine production, though wine was more common among the nobility. The importance of the Nile for agriculture was evident in the seasonal harvests, which directly depended on the annual floods. Without this fertility provided by the river, daily life in Egypt would have been much more challenging. The diet in ancient Egypt, rich in grains and vegetables, reflected both the available resources and social divisions, keeping the society well-nourished and functioning efficiently. The ancient Egyptians valued entertainment, which was strongly connected to both social and religious life. Board games, such as Senet, were popular and played by all classes, symbolizing the spiritual journey to the afterlife. Religious festivals were also important social events, featuring processions, dances, music, and banquets that brought the community together. The wealthy hosted lavish banquets with refined foods and musical performances, while peasants celebrated more modestly, sharing food and stories. Entertainment in ancient Egypt was not just a form of amusement, it reinforced social bonds and devotion to the gods. Before we continue, I'd like to ask you to give this video a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button and activate the notification bell. That way, you won't miss any videos and you'll also help the channel grow. Thank you, and now let's continue. Domestic conditions in ancient Egypt varied according to social class. Peasants lived in simple houses made of mud bricks, with few rooms and ventilation provided by small windows. In contrast, nobles lived in larger residences with internal courtyards and elaborate decoration. The organization of the household reflected the concept of amat, or order, which was essential to Egyptian life. The kitchen, often located in the courtyard, was a functional space. For the wealthy, servants prepared meals, while food was stored in ceramic jars. Domestic life balanced the mundane and the spiritual, reinforcing the pursuit of order. Religion permeated daily life in ancient Egypt, with the belief that the gods maintained order in the world. Small household altars allowed for daily offerings to ensure divine protection. Purification rituals, such as bathing and the use of oils, were common, especially among priests. Religious festivals were tied to the agricultural cycle, reinforcing the connection between the divine and everyday life. Religion was present in every aspect of existence, uniting the material and the spiritual, with each act serving as a way to honor the gods and maintain balance. Superstitions played a vital role in Egyptian culture. Amulets like the Eye of Horus and the Ankh were worn for protection and good fortune. Egyptians believed that dreams and animal behavior could be divine omens, and priests often interpreted these signs. Belief in the afterlife deeply influenced funerary rituals, with personal belongings being buried alongside the deceased to ensure a successful journey to the afterlife. Daily practices, such as avoiding specific gestures or words, reflected a respect for the supernatural. These superstitions were not merely beliefs but essential practices for spiritual survival. Women in ancient Egypt enjoyed rights that were unusual for the time, such as owning property and participating in legal proceedings. They managed their households, and among the elite, some, like Nefertiti and Hatshepsut, achieved political power, even ruling as pharaohs. Women also served as priestesses in cults dedicated to goddesses. Even those with simpler lives had autonomy and legal rights protected by law. The status of women reflected the balance between the divine and the earthly, highlighting a unique perspective on equality in a male-dominated society. Life in ancient Egypt was characterized by a constant pursuit of balance, guided by the concept of amat. The interconnection between work, religion, and social hierarchy defined daily life, from peasants to pharaohs. Though it may seem distant from our reality, many of their concerns were universal, such as providing for the family and preserving spiritual order. The rich culture and ingenious legacy of ancient Egypt continue to captivate, revealing a people whose devotion and ingenuity have endured throughout history. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notification bell so you don't miss the upcoming videos. Leave a comment about what impressed you most about the life of the Egyptians or what other historical topics you would like to see here. See you next time.